Pokemon is the kind of video game where once you've played it once, it's the same the next 1,000 times you play it. To fix this problem, some Pokemon fans add rules, win conditions, or alter the game to add a bit of challenge. The most famous of these is a Nuzlocke, but another one is completing the game with only one predetermined Pokemon. I got bored last summer and did one with Bidoof. Here are the rules. Number 1. Only Bidoof can be used in battle. Number 2. Bidoof can't be evolved into GBrawl. Number 3. HM slaves are allowed as long as they aren't used in battle. Number 4. Required gift Pokemon, the only two being Panpour and Zekrom, can't use damage-dealing moves and must be switched out or fainted as soon as possible. Number 5. The challenge is considered over when N and Getsus are defeated and the credits roll. I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to alter one of my starter choices to Bidoof. I chose to swap Snivy out purely for the sake of having Chili as my first gym battle. I waited until I got a Bashful nature since it's neutral. I also gave my Bidoof the Unaware ability, which makes me immune to stat changes. This is extremely useful in the early game when everyone spams Growl and Leer. After dealing with some intruders, we could finally go to Ferret Town. The only important thing here was a battle against N, but that was quick. Striaton City is the home to the first gym. Once we kicked Charen in the teeth and dropped off Panpour in the PC like a baby outside an orphanage in the middle of the night, the guy left and we could finally proceed. Buddying some dogs gave perfect enough EXP to reach level 13 and learn Rollout. Since the game thought I chose Snivy as my starter, my first gym battle was against Chili. His lapdog and turd monkey were one-shotted, giving us the trio badge and TM83 workup, which got thrown in the garbage with the other dumb stupid stat moves because my own aware ability makes them completely useless. Final gave me Cut, which I taught to Bidoof. This is the only required use of an HM to reach the Elite Four and be black and white, but there are other ones that I ended up using to access places to grind. Using Cut on this leafy guy gave us access to the most pointless interaction in a Pokemon game. On Route 3, there's a required double battle, and they won't let you pass unless you have 2 Pokemon in your party. I forgot how tedious these games can be. I grabbed Panpour out of my PC, and I didn't count this as breaking the rules, because number 1, Panpour didn't use any damaging moves on the opposing Pokemon while in battle, and number 2, I quickly let him faint and then continued the battle alone. Apparently, I couldn't walk 2 inches in this world without being bombarded by either Bianca or Charen, so I used Rollout, and you know how the story goes. In Nacrene, Perfect learned Headbutt, and N stormed out like a little wisp baby, opening up the second gym. After trying to brute force my way through at level 19, I decided to enter the first grinding session of the run. Since Bidoof learns Hyper Fang at level 21 and Yawn at level 25, I reached level 25 and attempted it again. Lenora started with her Herdier, and I made her watch Planet Earth. Somehow, she missed a takedown, fell asleep, and then missed another takedown, and just Rollout wiped out everything. This gave us the basic badge and the green light to enter Pinwheel Forest. The only useful thing here was TM86 Grass Knot, and it's not even that useful. Something that is useful though is the Eviolite, a held item in Castelia that raises the special defense and defense of an unevolved Pokemon to what its evolved form would have. Side note, while I was writing the script, I realized that Unaware cancels out the Eviolite stat boosts. I went the whole game thinking I needed it to survive. I'm sorry. Castelia also has the Bug Gym, so my pet and I squashed these bugs, netting us the Insect Badge and Bug Jelly. Bianca and Charen were both a breeze, so passing through Route 4, I grabbed the much-needed TM28 dig and arrived in Nimbasa City. Before fighting Elisa? There was a required battle against Ed. Sandile, Scraggy, Darumaka, and Sigilyph were all bit in the ass. To cover Zebstrika specifically, I taught the newly obtained TM28 dig to Perfect before Elisa. She started out with her first Emolga, and immediately I was reminded of how much I hate Volt Switch. Static paralyzed me, which ended up being a good and bad thing. I started building up Rollout, and eventually, it built up enough to take out one of her 2 Emolgas. Out came her second Emolga, and the remaining paralysis that I didn't feel like fixing gave me a window to heal. After a few failed digs against Zebstrika, one finally hit and was really underwhelming. I decided to say goodbye to my wheelchair, used another dig to take out Zebstrika, and finished off her last Emolga with a Hyper Fang. After 10 torturous minutes of Volt Switch after Volt Switch, we secured the Bolt Badge and headed for Route 5. Charen was easy. Once the cold storage was cleared, Clay was up next. Beforehand, I swapped Dig for Grass Knot because I thought it would help against Excadrill. Clay led with Krokorok, and we both traded Nibbles. Surprisingly, Grass Knot did not do that much against Palpitoad, despite it being 4 times weak to grass. I had a quick change of plans and spammed Hyper Fang on Palpitoad and his Excadrill. Now, before you push up your anime glasses and tell me Steel resists normal, I don't care, because it worked anyway. We headed to Route 6, shoved Bianca under the rug, and got TMO2 Fly, the dumbest HM to give to someone with an beaver. Making my way through Chargestone Cave, I hit level 41 and learned Superpower. Superpower lowers your attack and defense for balancing purposes, being a 120 power move with 100% accuracy. But with Bidoof's Unaware ability, my attack and defense are counted as unaltered when the damage is calculated, making it a 120 power move with 100% accuracy and no penalties. That's a little good if you ask me. I also brought Dig back in exchange for Hyper Fang, and blocked the exit, asking for my license and registration, so I punched him in the face. Before Skyla, I visited the move deleter to finally get rid of Cut, and filled the vacant spot with Charge Beam, which I didn't even use against Skyla because Rollout swept her entire team before I could even blink. At Twist Mountain, Charon made sure to hit his quota of 1 rival battle per 9 seconds. Alder gave me Surf, again, great for a beaver. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Why can't Bidoof learn Surf? If Rhydon and Zigzagoon can, a thing and another thing, they're not even water type. Why can they learn Surf? And Bidoof's evolution is a part water type. After going to the Game Freak HQ and asking for a Bidoof with a surfboard, Twist Mountain dropped us off at Icera City's doorstep. This was the first time this entire game I was able to waltz into a gym without a rival battle or a side quest. Either way, they were all slaughtered by Superpower. I almost walked away from the battle untouched. How's this game rated E for everyone? Bryson gave me the freeze badge and the TM for cold air. One thing that did make me happy was that Charon and Bianca had to not only wait for their gym battle, but do a side quest before they had their gym battle. After Dragon Spiral Tower, I increased the PP of... PP? It says PP. It says PP. After Dragon Spiral Tower, I increased the PP of Superpower to 7 because it's a broken move, and had to backtrack through all of this. In the rules I made, it originally said only Bidoof is allowed in your party, because you technically don't need HM slaves to finish the game. But I didn't feel like walking, so I found a bird and gave it an appropriate nickname. I cleared Relic Castle, bought TM14, Blizzard, and Iceris, and headed down Route 8. Here, I taught Perfect Grass Knot again, and the TM30 Shadow Ball I found in Relic Castle to beat Bianca. Before Iris, I taught Perfect Blizzard for the Dragon guys. Blizzard has 5 PP, so I had to use it sparingly. There were a bunch of times where I had to reset because too many blizzards missed the mark, but let's just forget those happened and focus on the one where every blizzard hit. The first blizzard took out her Fracture, and the next 2 took out her Druddigan. When her Ace Haxorus came out, I used multiple superpowers to chip her health down and used one last blizzard as a finisher. Badge number 8. And just like clockwork, I have another hourly rival battle. Charon wanted to test me like a bad BuzzFeed quiz. Perfect, popping as many pills as possible, curb stomped him and got me a PB. Are you listening to Money Machine by 316? At level 69, I tried fighting the Elite Four and wasted an afternoon. It was then that I decided that the power of friendship wasn't enough. For 2 weeks, I trained Perfect from level 69 to level 90. I also bought TM27 Return in Nimbasa City and picked up TM24 Thunderbolt at the P2 laboratory. Both would have been very useful ages ago, but too late. After all this preparation, after all this time, I was ready. For each Elite Four member, I tweaked my moves to best tackle the type I was up against. I always had to have superpower though, because I learned it from level up, so if I removed it, it was gone for good. I chose to face Grimsley first, because superpower is broken and super effective against dark. For the 3 open move slots, I taught Blizzard for his Crocodile's ground typing, and the other 2 were solely for emotional support. Scraggy went down to a single superpower. Crocodile's Earthquake somehow didn't hit me, so I gave him the shivers. Superpower O-code his B-sharp, as would any 4 times super effective move, and Leopard was easy peasy. So far, so good. For Chantal, I kept Superpower, Blizzard, and Shadow Ball, but swapped Return for Dig to take care of Shadowlore's fire typing. Cofagrigus went down to 2 Shadow Balls. Golurk is half ground type, so Blizzard was super effective, and so was Shadow Ball. Chandelure, being half fire type, was one-shotted by Dig. Jellicent was her last, and after a lot of Shadow Balls, we could march forward. For Caitlyn, the only thing I changed was swapping out Dig for Thunderbolt to take advantage of Sigilyph's secondary flying type. Reuniclus ate some Shadow Balls. Sigilyph was turned into the caveman from Scooby-Doo. Gothitelle also ate shadows, and Musharna got an all-you-can-eat buffet. Marshall was a bit scary. Why? Maybe because he specializes in Perfect's only weakness, you know. Not that big of a deal. For my moveset, I kept everything but dropped Shadow Ball for Return. My saving grace. Since Perfect was with me the whole game as my only Pokemon and barely ever fainted, her friendship level was seemingly very high, giving me a win button. And with that, the Elite Four was defeated. Plot happened, and made an entire castle rise from the ground. 11 years later, I still don't understand how he did that. Inside N's bouncy castle, the gym leaders showed up and did their job for once in their miserable lives, and told me to proceed with the ball I got in Nacrene, which ended up in my Master Ball. Zekrom in a normal playthrough would be vital to beat N because he's a legendary and N is busted. But here? No. Instead, I used Pecha Berries until it fainted, because berries waste a turn if the Pokemon it's used on doesn't have a status condition. Hold on. Rewind a bit. I forgot to talk schmoves. Keep in mind that I had to form my kit around covering both of their teams, since there's no break in between N and Getsus. Superpower, as always, was a constant. I put Return in the second slot because it's basically snake oil. Thunderbolt was for N's Caracosta and Archeops, and Shadow Ball was for Getsus's Cofagrigus. Fusion Flare took out Zekrom. While Reshiram was recharging, and N was in utter shock that I would willingly sacrifice the legendary I was given to beat him, I one-shotted the legendary Pokemon with a single return. Zoroark and the real Klinklang were both punched in the nuts. Vanillux, just like Klinklang, wasn't one-shotted by superpower surprisingly, even though it's super effective. With a smooth dodge and another superpower, Vanillux was down. Caracosta took a few Thunderbolts, and N's last Pokemon, Archeops, stepped in. He went first with Stone Edge, almost neutering me and leaving me with 7 HP, but after one last Thunderbolt, we were halfway done.
If this weren't a video game, I'd be on my way to prison!
The true final battle loomed closer. This is it. His first Pokemon was Cofagrigus, who after killing Zekrom again for me, went down to 2 Shadow Balls. Getsus decided to send out his ace, Hydreigon, second. Since Hydreigon is half dark type, superpower easily took him out. His third was Bouffalant. I kept losing, so I came up with a strategy. Head Charge is a move that does recoil damage equal to 1/4 of damage dealt. Since I was faster than him, if I healed multiple times while letting him hurt himself with recoil, he'd be at a low enough HP for me to feint him with a superpower. Unethical, but it worked. Once Bouffalant was gone, Seismitoad was next. We had a few Return and Earthquake trade-offs, but I came out on top. His B-Sharp was quickly one-shotted by superpower. His last Pokemon, Electros, stood before me. Electros kept using Wild Charge. Since Wild Charge also does recoil damage, I used the same tactic as I did for his Bouffalant. With one last punch, it was over. I saved the world. Getsus was defeated and realizes his mistakes, but the player is left with a sense of victory yet incompletion, a longing to finish something he thought was done. There's a persistent feeling, even after all this time, that his journey is just beginning. And that's a wrap.